Mayor, I'd like to call to order the work session meeting of the Elmwood Park Mayor and Council for September 9, 2021 to order at 7:02 p.m. On roll call, council members Balistrary. Here. Fakori. Here. Fasolo.
Here.
Golubek, absent. Pellegrin.
Here.
Council President Wetchler.
Here.
Mayor Coletti.
Here.
We have a quorum.
If we could just take a minute and bow our heads in silence for the victims of 9/11. Thank you. Whereas Chapter 231 of the Public Laws of the State of New Jersey require at the commencement of every meeting a statement of compliance be read by the presiding officer. Now, therefore, be advised that that meeting requirement for this meeting have been met by publishing an annual notice in the Record and Herald News of Woodland Park, and by posting such notice in the office of the Borough Clerk, as well as in a public place within the municipal building, and also by notifying interested citizens. Notice was posted on January 8th, 2021, and published on January 13th, 2021. I'd like to open it to the public. Anyone here care to speak on any subject they care to speak about? If not, I will close the public portion. Erin?
Thank you, Mayor. If you just give me one moment, I need to call in our engineer.
Our engineer, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, is not here this evening. He had a double kind of mini tragedy in the sense that he cut his hand. He got 8 stitches on his hand. Also, his daughter was diagnosed with COVID-19, and he thought it wise
Hi, Tom.
to stay away for a period of time.
How are you?
But we have
Erin?
him on the phone.
Hi, Aaron. How are you doing?
I'm good. So we have you on. We just got to the engineer's report. I do have 3 items to go over before I turn it over to you for the monthly status report. So you just give me one moment. The first one is Mayor and Council number 1A. It's a change order number 2, incur estimate number 4 and final for the Tuella Avenue water main improvements. If there's no questions, I could place this on the agenda for approval next week.
Council, any questions? No. Moving along.
Okay, 1B, we have an updated proposal for design services in regard to the 2021 road program. I believe our Borough Administrator Foligno has an update on that.
I talked to Tom earlier. Tom, did you want to give that update? Where we're at with it?
I'm not understanding.
Sorry, Tom, I had turned it over to Mike, but if you can give the mayor and council an update on the 2021 road program proposal?
Yes, we had submitted a proposal for that based upon our original roads that were listed. We went out and checked curbs and make sure we got the curbs taken care of and the inlets and such. And we found out that we didn't quite make the amount budgeted, so we're able to add a couple more streets, and Mr. Foligno and I went over that this afternoon, so we'll be revising that proposal.
Tom, this is the mayor. Tom, what's
Yes.
what's the total cost of spending for the borough, curbing, the drainage project, and now this repavement program?
I did have that in an email today. Let me see if I can get it. Just give me 1 second here.
No problem. Take your time, but not too much time.
Well, as luck would have it, I also lost my internet tonight, so I'm working off my hotspot on my phone. Okay. The PSE&G curbs, which is the curbing that we're doing before PSE&G paves, is about $360,000 all in.
Okay.
The borough roads and curbs, as it stands now, is about $600,000 628, and those are estimates. The townwide drainage, we actually bid and award that, and that is oh, hang on, I made a mistake. And the townwide drainage is 361,500 all in, and those numbers include design, construction administration, and the construction estimate. Except for the townwide drainage, we actually have that as a bid, so that's a hard number.
Okay, so total, we're looking at close to $1.4 million.
3, 6,
Just under $1.4 million, right?
in that area, yes.
Okay. Well, Counsel, you know how I feel. I didn't want to exceed $1 million. Once again, many years ago, maybe 3-4 years ago, we had a budget of 400 to 450. Some years it was 350 for repaving. Okay, we weren't doing curbs at that time as much as we're doing now, which is the right procedure to correct curbs as you're going. And we weren't doing drainage problems, which is the right procedure going forward. Before you pave a road, the curbing should be in place and the drainage should be in place. With that said, we can't not do the drainage and we cannot do the curbs. But we can eliminate a couple of roads, get this down to about $1 million, which would be about $600,000 more than we normally spend. So I ask you to consider that.
Mayor, I have something to say. I think this town, and I think our residents deserve to have the streets, the drainage, and everything finally completed. If it's going to cost us a little bit extra money this year, we do it. Our residents, they deserve to have this done. They've been waiting years and years to have this done, and now it's their turn to have it done. So I don't see any reason why not to go forward with this. That's
Well,
my opinion.
Doris, if I may address that. We would need $25 million to correct all the roads probably in this town.
But that's because it wasn't done right from the beginning. It was always procrastinated from this year, we'll do it next year, we'll do it next year, we'll do it next year, and now it's caught up time. Now it's time, we have to do it. We have no choice in this matter.
You want to spend the $25 million?
No, I'm not saying this. The $1 million that we have to spend, the millions for, whatever you said, I think that our town deserves it. We've been procrastinating with this town, with our residents, and I think they deserve to have it finally done completely.
Okay. Well, I agree, we have to maintain, but to go from spending $300,000 or $400,000 a year to $1.5 million every year, I don't think it's not acceptable to me in any case.
It's not acceptable, but our taxpayers and our residents in this town deserve it.
They
We
deserve
sit
it.
up here and we represent our town.
They deserve a
has
tax
been-
increase? That's
This
what you're
has
saying?
been procrastinated for over 50 years. It's time for them to have it done the right way, finally, and have it done.
Anyone else care to comment?
Mayor, I think that the same way we expected our taxpayers to bring them our checks here during a pandemic is, I think our taxpayers deserve better streets. So I'm for this.
I'm sorry, Mr. Fasola, I couldn't make out what you were saying.
I said the same way we expected our taxpayers to bring us their checks during a pandemic is the same way they deserve better streets. So I'm going to be for this, Mayor.
Anyone else care to speak?
I'm also going to be for it. I think if you break it down, Mayor, I understand what you're saying. It's a lot of money, but I think the fact that we're correcting the drainage issues is a big ticket item that really adds to the cost. And I think that's what's thrown everybody off, but it's really something separate that has been an issue for a while. And I think, you know, you were behind having that done, and it's absolutely necessary to have that done because people have been living with puddling. I know even by my own home, it gets very, very dangerous in the winter when that turns into ice. So we are doing a responsible thing. And yes, it's over what we usually spend, but we're doing it, I believe, really for safety, and those issues have to be corrected. And I think everything just came kind of all at once to us, but I think as a mayor and council, I really believe we're doing the responsible thing. And I know it is a little more, and I understand what you're trying to say, but I also understand my colleagues' feelings that I think for this year, we have to really get everything caught up and do the right thing and get those drainage issues fixed, along with doing the regular road program that we give to our residents. So I think we should do it.
Well, you're 100% right about the drainage being fixed first and then the curbings. But this is probably the third, fourth year in a row we're at over $1 million. Okay, we're bonding it, but that's just credit carding the future. I think if we curb this back a little, because it's been consecutive years, and you can bear me out on that in case the council doesn't think I'm correct with my statement. It's been $1.5 million, $1 million, and now another $1.5 million when it used to be $400,000. And Doris, I do get that there's catch-up, but that catch-up was in 17, 18, and 19. We're catching up. And don't forget, this paving withstands what the DOT is going to do for us, what the county is going to do for us. So all that's getting done. It's just boiling down to extra dollars here on the taxpayer's back. And I think if we just curb it down a little bit and come up with a compromise here, it'll move forward fastly.
If you would have did it right from the beginning, it would have been cheaper. Now it's 10, 20, 30, 40 years later, everything went up. Everything went up in price. All the material, all the labor, and everything else. So now catch-up, yeah, it's catch-up because you didn't fix it at the beginning when it happened. Now you're fixing it 20, 30, 40 years later. So everything's going to go up higher. Everything's going to cost us. But like I said, our taxpayers and our residents deserve every bit of it. They worked with us, now we have to work with them. It's time that they get to have a safe street, no water, and everything else. And I think my vote's going, so we got so far 3 votes.
I think that the problem is if we slow it down and we do smaller work, by the time we get this completed, we're starting all over again. We may not even get it completed and we're starting on going back to the roads that were once completed. I know we had a lot of discussion on this, so I know none of the council members took this lightly. We discussed how we felt. We discussed what the residents need, what the town needs. So I am in favor, I still am in favor from our other discussions. It wasn't something we just said, okay, we're doing it and that's it. We really have discussed this quite a bit. And I understand your point as well, but we all are taxpayers as well. So I think we have, you know, a little bit more insight on how the progress has been going. And I think we've been doing a great job moving things along. And
Well, it's very easy to progress when you can spend money. You have to come up with a happy medium so that it's relative to the times. Now, what Doris was saying, that catch up. There's roads out there that after we get finished with this program, they're going to appear that they should have been done too. But we have to do things in moderation. And exceeding your budget, this $1.5 million is exceeding our budget each and every year. It's being credit carded for the future. We're going to pay interest on that money. I'm just saying, be a little more cognizant to the fact that we can overdo that aspect of it by credit carding the future for the residents of Villan Park. I'm adamant about this. It's probably going to be the first time that I am going to confront the council and possibly veto this. So just so you know that. And that's not a scare tactic, but I'm looking for some type of a compromise from the council here.
Okay, so for the time being, there's still work that needs to be done in addressing that proposal. If it's done prior to next Thursday's meeting, then I'll leave it up to the mayor and council if it should be on the agenda. But for right now, it's being held. Before I turn it over to Tom, I do have one last item that came in a bit late, so it's not on your agendas in front of you. But Alima was awarded a resolution for miscellaneous services. 35,000 was given. There's only 2,000 left. They have billed us through July. So it's very likely that there won't be enough money through the end of the year. So it's up to the mayor and council if you want to increase that amount, and if so, by how much.
Did we just give them that money?
Yeah, so originally you gave 25, and in August you gave 10.
Right.
So there was a total of 35, but then finance got more bills. So right now they've only received bills through July.
All right, I want to see the breakdown of all of it before I decide anything about any, giving them any extra money, so we see what they're spending it on.
Tom, would you like to elaborate? We have a councilwoman here who would care to know where the money's going in reference to,
I believe the majority of that billing occurred before I took over Elmwood Park, so I'm going to have to look into that myself. I did see the email from Francie this week. Personally, I try to stay away from general engineering specifically for this reason, but I've got to go back and see maybe some of that money should have been applied to a project. So I'm going to have to go back and see what I can find with that and see if I can either move some of it or say that, we're not going to have this kind of spending on a general number. I mean, you need a general number because there can be something so small that, by the time we go through the effort of creating a job number, a new folder, and all this other stuff, it takes almost as long to do that than it does to complete the task. So you need a general engineering, but like I said, I try to break things out a little bit more so that everybody's on the same page with as far as what's being charged for what. So what I can do is I can put something together and submit it to the council for the next meeting.
Mike, on our part, who represents us in reviewing their bills? You? And can you shed any light on the situation?
I don't have it in front of me, Mayor, so I'd have to take a look at it.
Okay. All right, Tom.
Okay, so for right now, I'll put it on hold. So with that being said, Tom, the floor is yours for your monthly status report.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, we just talked about the curbs. The plans are essentially complete. I've got to coordinate for a bid date on that. The next item there is the Marcal Phase 1 environmental review. That's underway right now. It's probably about halfway complete, so we should have that shortly. The next job is a Route 4 improvements. The Route DOT is doing improvements to Route 4, which requires us to move some utilities. So we coordinated that. That effort is going to be reimbursed by the state to the borough. So that's we moved some things around, Mr. Cars and I, because we just felt it would work better, and turns out that that was a better way to do it. Basketball court upgrades again.
Hold, Tom, I got a question. Sorry? What exactly is getting done on Route 4? What are we talking about here?
I believe they're putting new signals in, and some of our utilities got in the way of the signal foundations.
It's the sewer.
So we had to reroute some stuff.
It's all state. It's not nothing that no cost on the town. But what is it? Just out of curiosity. I think they're moving the sewer. Oh, moving the sewer? That's what I thought about.
Yes, I believe the state is putting in new signal lights. So in the new where they want to put the signal light pole and the foundation was too close to some of our sanitary pipes. So they rerouted the sanitary pipe around the proposed light pole foundation.
Okay. Any questions on that, council? Yeah, continue, Tom.
Okay, basketball court upgrades. Like I said, I'll talk to Mr. Foligno tomorrow about some dates. PSE&G paving coordination. That was also that's the subject of that proposal that we submitted. So we could do the curbs before PSE&G comes in. We also went through the list of roads PSE&G gave us, and which was a bit of an effort because the spreadsheets they were giving us were inconsistent. So Mr. Cars and I spent a lot of time figuring out what they needed to do. Then we corrected their spreadsheet. Then we took the credits and applied. We took all the roads that were to be half paved, because originally they were all half paved, and we prioritized the roads and did not pave some of the. We didn't half pave some of the good roads, so that we can fully pave the roads in worse condition. So that way you're not getting a half paved street, because once you do a half paved street, it never looks right. And people are saying, they never have a whole street.
Tom, just so we get it clear, we don't accept paving half-road streets here in Elmwood Park. We go curb to curb, and then you work out the square footage differential with the PS&G, and then the balance is ours. So
Right.
that's the norm here. No half roads get paved.
Right, and that's what we did. We're getting a little more pavement than we're working out a little ahead on that game, because obviously the numbers aren't going to be exact. So we wound up getting paved a little bit more than they originally proposed.
Well, that's a good thing. We got a little benefit of the doubt. That's good.
Little bit.
Little bit.
The project, the traffic at River Road, River Drive, that's in design. We've been in communication with the county on that. Drainage improvements, we have a pre-construction meeting tomorrow morning. Mr. Ingraffi has sent out a letter today. There's apparently some issues that he has with it, but we're going to be working those out with the contractor. Gilbert Avenue, Marina, the preliminary assessment was submitted, and we have to get back to those sample designs, concept designs, to see if the borough wants to move some stuff around before we go into final design on that. Municipal aid, Gilbert Avenue, that paperwork is being processed. Rosemont Park improvements. This project was originally going to be done strictly with a cooperative pricing council. After we got pricing and we did our design and we all settled out what we're going to do, it turns out that Mr. Regatino indicates that we could not use that co-op. It was a federal co-op or something, and for whatever reason he wasn't comfortable with it. So what we did is we researched it, found that there was a state contract for the fixtures, and we're chasing that down to see if there's more material on state contract, because if we buy the material under state contract, I'm hoping to do the labor, which is 3 quotes, rather than going to a full public bid, which is more time consuming, and it costs a little bit more money to go through all that exercise. So we should have something firm on that for the next meeting.
Okay.
Improvement to Donor Echo. There's a little bit of concrete work we got to do on Echo, and then we'll get those 2 paved. PSE&G, the Mola Boulevard improvements are done. We're coordinating with some DOT because there's some paperwork we got to wrap up for them for the grant application. Tuella, we had a final payment. I did get a phone call. There was some cracking, so I'm going to be contacting the contractor on that. And the rest of the stuff is basically nothing new.
Okay.
Can I go back to number 6 1 minute, Tom?
Hmm.
Can he hear me? Okay. It says the project is in design. This has been like a long time coming. Do you have any idea as to how long this will take before it's actually up? Because I keep seeing many more. Yeah, it's a very long time already, and every time I'm in that area, I see so many almost accidents, and I think we really need to get this moving as quick as we can. It's really getting to be a problem in that area.
Right. I believe this year. I think the council approved this right as I came in to the town, and there was some communication between the county. I was under the impression that they were doing a shared services agreement before we got started, But I found out the other week that no, that we can get started without that. So that's when I went ahead and pulled the trigger on. I can get an update. I'll try to attach some dates to that for the next meeting.
Yeah, that would
obviously
be
the county
good.
has to-
We have to push them along because this has been way too long and somebody's going to get seriously injured, I'm afraid.
Understand.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Any other questions for Tom? Tom, you have anything final to say?
Well, I appreciate that the council accommodated my situation. I didn't want to cause an issue. My daughter tested positive last Saturday for COVID. I tested negative, but theoretically, every time I walk into the house, I could get caught. I could catch it again. So I spoke to Mr. Foligno. We felt this was the better way to go. Although I do miss getting out of the house every now and then.
Yeah.
So maybe next month we'll be able to do this in person again.
No problem, Tom. That was the best thing to do. What happened to your hand?
A little DIY accident.
Okay.
I was cutting some pipe, and it jumped off the pipe, and the saw went across my finger.
Oh, boy. Is that,
So just another battle scar.
yeah, everything okay with the hand? And you can get full
yeah.
restitution? Okay. All right, Tom, then. Thank you for your report.
Thank
All right,
you.
thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you, Tom.
Moving along.
Okay, moving along, Mayor. Moving on to resolutions. 2A, we have resolutions authorizing tax exemptions for veterans, which were submitted by our tax assessor. Any questions?
Now, that's basically, they get exempt from any increase of taxes, correct?
Yeah, it's a common protocol. Our tax assessor reviews it and gives the authorization, which he did.
Yeah, good thing for the vets.
Okay, 2B is an additional before and after school program hire, and then we also need to correct the resolution from August as it did not say before and after school program. So it's twofold with the recreation department.
Okay.
2C is an approval from the police department for a handicap parking space, so that was already investigated and the recommendation was made. Any questions? 2D is redemptions for third-party tax liens. 2E are quotes for fire hydrant repair work that's needed within the borough. Okay, 2F came as a recommendation from our auditor. We have some open bonds ordinances that still have some monies remaining, and they recommend the cancellation of those ordinances.
That's bonding that wasn't used. It'll go back into the coffers.
Correct. 2G is a recreation department request for a refund for morning care. 2H is a request from the police department to approve 3 full-time crossing guards. They completed their background checks, and this is recommended by the police.
Mike, is this our usual staffing for the year?
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, 2I is a vacation buyback request. Any questions? And then the last one, 2J, we are actually going to pull for further investigating by our attorneys. With that being said, 3A will be pulled as well for the same reason. 3B is an ordinance requested by the police department for parking prohibited along Chestnut Street. Okay to introduce at next week's meeting? Okay, moving on to departmental reports. We have the building department monthly report for August 2021. The Millennium Strategies, our grant writers monthly report through August 2021. Our municipal court report from July 2021. And then lastly, our finance report through August 2021. Mayor, that's all I have on my agenda this evening.
Thank you, Erin. Committee reports, Councilwoman Ballesteri.
I just want to mention again, since we're getting close to the date of the 50th anniversary girls softball dinner, I do have tickets still available, $50 a ticket. It's on October 5th at 6 o'clock at the Venetian. It's going to be a great night, so anyone that's interested in supporting the 50th anniversary, please feel free to reach out to me. And I also want to mention that every Tuesday evening, there is bingo at the American Legion. Starts at 7 o'clock. They've built a nice crowd there now, and please come out and support them. And that's all from me, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Vakori?
Thank you, Mayor. Sunday will be Community Day. Hope everybody be there, and I wish to see everyone there. So, progress, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Fasolo?
Thank you, Mayor. I also would like to remind everybody that Sunday is Community Day from 1 to 6 at Borough Field, and I want to commend everybody for their hard work. I know it's going to be a great day. And we also keep everybody, all the victims and their families in your prayers for 9/11 this weekend. It's hard to believe that it's been 20 years, but we'll never forget. Progress, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Fasola. How's it feel to be back in the United States?
Good, Mayor. Good, back to work.
You got used to that good old Italian food over there, though.
Definitely.
Councilman Goldenbeck is absent. Councilwoman Pellegrin?
Yes, just a couple things, Mayor. Residents Assistance Program update. September is Hunger Awareness Month, and on September 17th, all over the country is Hunger Action Day. The Residents Assistance Program, the People's Pantry, Strangers Helping Strangers, and Our Way to Hope will be teaming up together to stomp out hunger. Please join us on September 17th from 6 to 8 p.m., 236 Falmouth Ave, for a walk-up market, school supplies, music, food, and much more, all free for our Elmwood Park residents. Come join us for this very special event. My Board of Health update. Their next meeting will be held on September 13th at 7 p.m. On Tuesday, September 14th, for our Elmwood Park residents, a free flu clinic will be held from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m., location 236 Falmouth Ave, Elmwood Park. Any questions, please call our Board of Health office at 201-796-1457, extension 604. On October 2nd, our Board of Health presents Elmwood Park Celebrates Seniors. Many activities, entertainment, prizes, giveaways, coffee and refreshments, and much more will be offered. Time, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., location Market Street from Mola Boulevard to Pine Street. Mark your calendars for this very special event. Progress, Mayor.
Thank you, Mrs. Pellegrin. Council President Wetchler?
Yes, I have two. The homeowners is having Candidates Night on Wednesday, September the 22nd at 7 p.m. The council and the Board of Education candidates were invited to come and speak about their views of what they'd like to do as a council person and as the Board of Education. That's on by the rec department. It's held in the senior center. The homeowners are having a bus ride Friday, September the 24th to Pennsylvania. They leave at 10 o'clock from the rec department. They can return at 7 o'clock. The cost of the trip is $40, and you get $35 back in cash vouchers. If you're looking for seats, please call Linda Calabini at 201-966-7694. Progress, Mayor.
Thank you, Mrs. Welcher. I have a couple items, two I'd like to discuss with the council, and one compliment going out to the DPW on the cleanup job they did. And also, I want to point out Scott Cars, who many of you know is a very exceptional director to that department. But besides that, he's very cognizant of the draining aspect of this town. And as was former Mayor Mola many years ago, it was his pet peeve, and I remember that distinctly, with all the culverts that were in shambles. They all needed to be refurbished, and they eventually were by state money or county money, put us in a real good spot. But that means very little if those culverts aren't free of debris. And that's where our director comes in, and he's managed that very well as cleaning these culverts in strategic spots, as handcuffed as he is, because the county will not allow you to move any type of soil from these culverts. So I think all in all, our town had come through this flood relatively unscathed compared to other towns. And I think that's a big to-do because of the way we're treating our Fleischers Brook and staying on top of the cleaning. There are a couple of horror stories, however, within Elmwood Park. One I had to witness myself was at 35 Lee Street. There was 4 foot of water in the basement, a situation where they had French drain and they had a sump pump. The sump pump is taking the water and discharging it on the lawn, which is coming down into the water table again, only to get pumped up again. Exercise in futility. With that, I'd like the council to consider changing our ordinance about discharging water at times like that in the street. We should allow that. It's the only way these people can help themselves out. We would limit it to the months of March 1st, and let's say these dates can be changed, March 1st to November 1st, because after that, we have to worry about that discharge freezing, and it becomes a bigger problem. But within those months, we should allow these people to help themselves out. Now, is it going to stop 4 foot of water? No. But lesser storms, it'll allow them to take that water that's coming into the basement and onto the street, which is going into a drain. So I'd like the council to consider that. In addition to that, we have situations where we have buildings that the driveways descend down 8 feet, and you have, and there's quite a few homes in Elmwood Park like that. What you have is from the street to the basement, roughly 8 foot drop. Right? Now, there's even with a fire truck pump at the wrong spot, it's going to be difficult to stop that basement from flooding when you get a deluge the way we did. What I'd like to do is prohibit that type of building, and to do so, you'd have to raise the height of the house, which has always been a concern of ours because we thought it was going to breed illegal 3 families. I say that's a policing aspect. The trade-off is the horror situations that are being created by putting those driveways down and the aspect of a flood like we've had now and the people dealing with that. I would rather have to worry about policing the 3 families, raise the height of the building 5 or 6 feet, and keep in mind when we do that, Sal, the pitch of the roof, we don't want it to be 2 inches on 12, which gives you a very, because of a height restriction. You want it to be at least 4 on 12, if not even a little more. Keep that into consideration. It might have to extend it an extra foot, but in my opinion, it's something that we should consider doing, amending that ordinance. Mike, you have anything to say on this?
No, I agree with both things, Mayor. The discharging of the pumps to the street during the warmer weather and excluding it during the winter months because of the freezing. And with this situation you're talking about now, you and I spoke about this at length, and I think it's the best thing for the borough.
Okay. Council, any questions on that?
Mayor, I know we got the chance to discuss this as well, and I agree with both as well. I think they'll be good for our residents.
I think it'll be beneficial also.
Yes? Okay, Sal?
The preparation is to amend the pumping ordinance to allow summer months available to pump out in the street, winter months they can.
Do we want to pinpoint those dates, Mike?
November 1st to April 1st?
April 1st? No pumping on the, no pumping on the street.
Prohibited during that period of time. Otherwise, it's okay.
And any other time, all the rest of the year, they could do it.
Mhm.
Now, with regards to the height, I'll have to look at the ordinance that we have
Mhm.
and see how I can work out to manage the number of footage to go up.
Yeah.
Because you have to figure, Mary, you do have, it's to eliminate technically the driveway or garages going down. So potentially you may want to be able to go 4 feet under, 4 feet above
Mhm. Hmm.
that would raise the building approximately almost 8 feet, or 6 feet.
6 feet, yeah.
All right, so raising the foundation up so that you would not have the scenario where the driveway would pitch in.
Correct.
It would actually be able to pitch out, because you have to give it then enough pitch coming back out into the street.
Yeah.
So I have to look at the number, maybe with the engineer, we can talk about it, and also with the building inspector.
I'm sure, Sal, there's going to be some strange, odd situations where we're going to have to be flexible with it, but for the most part,
This where they have variances,
yeah.
I would think. But under the circumstances, we can, between myself and the, probably the building inspector, we could probably come out with figuratively a number of the height.
Yeah.
Because I think right now the height is like 26.
No, I think it's 30, 35.
Well, it's 26 per se, and then you depending on.
Extra floor. Yeah. We want to eliminate forcing that builder, that resident, to have to put that driveway under grade.
May very well be that we may have to do it so that any kind of basement would have to be at such a low grade of 6 feet, which would make it uninhabitable. That would help, because I think that's where the issue comes in. And then, I'll work it.
If we start worrying about the illegal dwelling, we're going to forget the horror that's causing. What we have to do is police the illegal dwelling, and don't substitute that with the horror of what these people are going through. I mean, it was, the fella just moved into the house a day before, and he's greeted with 4 foot of water. Can you imagine?
I can sympathize with that situation.
Okay.
I've experienced it, so. I know what it is.
You're on the hill over there.
Yeah, I never lived on the hill.
You're on the top of the mountain.
I lived down the hill.
Oh, okay. All right, Sal. That will conclude my report. I think we should open it up for the public for the second time. Anyone from the public here to speak? Yes, Mr. Roberts. Your name, rank, and serial number, or your name and address.
Paul Roberts, 260 Washington Ave. Back in January, I was standing right here at this podium, bringing to your guys' attention the lights in the apartments. Needs to be done. This past Saturday night, I almost hit somebody in those apartments because those lights are not operational. You have 3 lights out, 2 lights that are working have the orange lights to them. It is unacceptable for the residents of this town. Somebody is going to get killed up there crossing the street at night. We need to do something about this now.
Thank you, Mr. Roberts. Mike, are we aware that there's lights out there, or?
Mayor, we're aware of it. We notified PSE&G. That's all we could do, Mayor.
Okay. Now, the other thing is, and I got to admit myself, I travel that road at night. Sometimes maybe it's the eyes getting old, I don't know, but it is hard to navigate, especially when you start making the turn. Now, those amber lights, can we have them changed to a brighter light?
Mayor, we, the borough, can't do anything. It's overseen by public service. We can't make any changes because we would face severe liability if something happens. They've been notified about this. It's in their court. There's nothing we could do but make another phone call.
Mike, as far as the amber though, can we insist on, at least ask to
We
have?
could, I mean, that's not my expertise. We could ask public service, what's the most modern light that gives the most light that you can give? We want it in that area. Residents feel it's too dark, and then the ball's in their court. It's nothing that the borough has control over.
Okay. Okay. All right. Anyone else care to speak from the public? The gentleman got up before you, ma'am. What?
Jeffrey Freitag, 35 Tillman Drive. One thing I'd like to know now, there's going to be a fireworks display on Sunday. Have you adopted a resolution for that? I think that's part of the process of doing that.
Is that needed?
We're waiting, from what I understand, a response from the insurance carrier.
And that will,
I'm not aware of that, Mayor. The fire official, as well as our representative from the insurance company, have been working on this. No one indicated to us that there was a resolution required. I'm not aware of that.
Okay, the only way I know is because we went through it. I was a little familiar with it. At the Centennial, we had attempted to do it, and the application has it right on there on the form that you complete.
What's
And
the
it's-
application go to?
My phone's back there. Goes to some authority in the state.
That's a question for Steve Kochek, our fire official, who's very up on all this. He's been the lead on it, and he has not indicated to us that there's an application process or a resolution required. I can ask Steve tomorrow.
Okay. I just, in fact, whatever. Okay. Last week was brought up by my wife about the library. I noticed that it was heard that there were inspections that were required. Has it ever been clarified what the actual inspections are?
Yes, fire, plumbing, electrical. The contractor has not called for finals. The building department has explained that to me. We've had meetings over the last few days. Everything is on the contractor.
Okay, one other thing. This weekend, there was some confusion regarding recycling, and that particular Monday, and garbage pickup because of the holiday. You had the book saying one thing, and you had recycling codes. Both of them have misinformation on them. Papers are out, and then just today, which is remnants, I had some water in my basement, not a whole lot of stuff, but the garbage pickup today. And it was called.
There was garbage pickup today. There was.
I know it was. Not my house. It wasn't.
So I spoke to John Cali, the owner of Cali Carting, who's our contractor. The dumps are overloaded because of the storm debris that people put out and because of the holiday. He had trucks waiting for hours to get into the dump. He apologized and said they will be here first thing tomorrow to pick up the rest of the garbage. You got to understand this stuff. That's just the way things.
Because I waited.
I wish you'd get up to that mic one time and say something nice. I wish. I'll hold my breath. I won't hold my breath. Okay.
Jeff, getting back to the library, from day one, well, I want to say from I'm here a year and 7 months, we focused on that library. We had a meeting with the building department, the fire, all said, anything we could do to expedite this job within the laws, we will do. Nobody's been dragging their feet regarding this municipality. If anything, maybe they're putting their application on the top of the list instead of maybe going to the bottom. And I don't know if that's the case, but I would wish that was the case because we got to get through this. So there's no derelict of duty going on here. I can guarantee you that. The problem lies, as a former builder, developer, lies with the architect not having everything on the plans originally. I never heard of a set of plans without a site plan to it. So that when we reached that point, nobody knew anything about having any kind of dressings outside and landscaping. Doors, as far as fire-rated doors, we had to find out from the fire marshal that the doors that were in there don't pass the rating. That should have been on the architect's list. All right? So it's a combination of a builder who doesn't seem to have any urgency about finishing this job. And my recommendations at the next library meeting, which I sit on, is going to be give the builder an ultimatum. Finish the job or get out, and if you get out, we're taking the balance of the funds that you haven't been paid to finish the job. That's going to be my recommendation, and that's out of frustration.
Just one thing. I asked a question, I come up here, I don't appreciate that. I'm not here to get yelled at.
Nobody
As
yelled at
Berkeley.
you, Mr. Freitag. Nobody yelled at you, please. Nobody yelled at you.
Whatever you want to call it.
We work our butts off for this borough,
Okay.
and you never, ever said one thing nice about anything in this town. You come up here and criticize this governing body, the police department, the public works department,
Mayor.
everybody.
Mayor, you're in
Mayor,
charge.
I'm allowed to speak.
Yes, you are. You want
All right, gentlemen,
He's
gentlemen,
also charging me.
gentlemen,
I'm here for what?
oh,
Charging me. Thank you.
gentlemen,
Don't point at me, first of all.
gentlemen, keep,
I'm grown up.
Yeah, I know. Okay.
keep in mind, we're all here for the same thing. And
I asked a question, and I had to.
Yeah, you're innocent. We get it. Okay, thank you.
Was my garbage picked up? No. That's all I said. I bring up about the fireworks. I brought up the reason. Maybe you want to expose the town to a suit if something happens. I don't. Okay? Thank you.
anyone else care to speak from the public? Yes, ma'am. You're going to have to tilt that. Is it Emily? Oh, I'm sorry. You were here last week, right? Okay.
Well, speaking about why we have so much flooding, can I take this? Of course. You have a lot of flooding because a lot of big houses have been built on lots that were not meant to have these large houses. They might have 5 feet of backyard. Those kind of houses are the ones that should have dry wells. Let them collect the water that drops on their property. That's one thing. Retain your own water. If you're gonna build a house that has no grass, nothing to absorb the water, you should put a dry well.
I think that is our requirements now. Years ago, it didn't exist, and as an engineer, you probably can appreciate that. But today, drainage is number one when they're looking at the set of plans, pervious, impervious surfaces, etc. But I'm certain that in our ordinances today, you're not allowed to push any water on anybody else's property. You've got to contain it yourself. And I know that for a fact.
Why are houses larger than they should be put on these small lots?
Well, there's a percentage. There's a percentage of the
5 feet of backyard is more than the percentage you're allowed. I think it's 25%.
well, whatever you're allowed, whatever the percentage of the building is allowed on that lot, we're not exceeding that.
No, but I'm saying the builders that are doing it should put dry wells.
They,
Should have put them before.
they do. They do.
Mayor,
Sure.
ma'am, as a law, in the last, let's say in the last 10, 15 years, any new construction requires dry wells.
Then why is the flooding getting worse?
The flooding is getting
When I
worse
moved
because
here in 2001.
I can't tell you how and why the flooding is getting worse, but I can tell you that
That's why.
nowadays, any construction requires dry wells. As a matter of fact, they have to go through a calculation,
Yes.
an engineering calculation for roof and runoff water, for that dry well to be sufficient enough to sustain and withstand enough water calculation for the worst condition. So nowadays, like you have a situation that you have a lot of older homes
I have
that have
older
basements.
homes.
And those are all pre-existing non-conforming conditions, which we have to, the borough has to
I
be
can say
responsible.
something. When I moved here in 2001, I went down to the basement. I didn't smell any of that musty odor like they had water problems. I bought my house. Then, a few years later, they start building these gigantic houses across the street from me and up the block. I start getting flooding. My neighbor gets flooding. My neighbor who's been living here, she's 94. She got flooding for the first time. She had to get a sump pump. It's, something's happening that we're not seeing.
I can't answer that.
The other thing is
I
catch
can't see
basins,
what's
the
not
catch
available.
basins along the street need to be
Anything else?
The last thing, the pedestrian walks. I come home in the dark, and if I get off the 160 and I have to cross the street, people don't let you cross. First of all, I'm a pedestrian, they should be stopping for me. So what I do is I put on my phone, I stand right there and I walk with my phone.
That's smart.
They won't stop. Something has to be done with people that are driving through. They don't stop for pedestrians that want to cross. You wait for cars to pass and pass to cross.
You know where that's,
It's a walking town.
you,
People like to walk.
you know where that starts? It starts in the home. Teaching your children common courtesy. And it seems like in the past, I would say the last maybe 2 decades, that's not being preached day in and day out. You see somebody crossing the street, especially an elderly person, slow down, stop, help them.
They come right up to you.
Yeah.
You know, I've had that problem. So someone, like someone said before, someone's gonna get killed along the boulevard. And lighting wise, I don't think you could go any brighter. They want lighting that mimics moonlight, so the nocturnal animals don't, you know.
Clara, we just approved and paid for 6 LED pedestrian crossing signs along Mola Boulevard. Yep.
Hopefully they listen. But I think they should be given traffic tickets. If people have
We did a huge campaign. We issued over,
to the town hall to get that driver and give him a ticket.
we did an education campaign, literature, and then a campaign of enforcement. And we issued over 300 tickets to drivers not stopping for pedestrians. Problem is, as soon as you stop, they do it again. So it's difficult.
Then pedestrians should be able to take their picture and send it to you.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Something has to happen, somebody's gonna get killed, especially a child, trying to cross the street to go home from a bus.
But in your opinion, the lighting is fine on the boulevard?
No, it's too dull. It needs to be a little brighter, but it can't be so bright that the nocturnal animals can't live, the ones that go to sleep at that time can't live, and people, their homes. It can't be so bright that
That's probably why they have the amber lights there for the residents.
those are really, really dull.
Yeah, I know. No, I agree with you. I agree.
Maybe they need to be a little brighter, not so bright
Yeah.
enough that you can see a person walk.
You know what's going to happen, though? Once we put the brighter lights in there, then we're going to have a half a room filled with people complaining it's too bright.
Well, we can't touch it. We can't touch that. He's correct. You have to go to the utility.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, dear. Anyone else care to speak? If not, I will close the public portion. I think we need I didn't even complete yet. Motion to go to executive. All in favor? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with us this evening.
Whereas the Open Public Meetings Act, PL 1975, Chapter 231, permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting in certain circumstances, and whereas the public body is of the opinion that such circumstances presently exist, and whereas the governing body wishes to discuss personnel and legal reports, minutes will be kept, and once the matter involving the confidentiality of the above no longer requires that confidentiality, then the minutes can be made public. Now therefore be it resolved that the public be excluded from this meeting.